welcome to another Chicago Bears fan show. I am James, of course, and coming to you after a Week 13 loss to the Seahawks. It's pretty sour, pretty damp, wet mood right now. Kind of similar to the Pacific Northwest in Bears Nation. Doesn't feel good losing that game in overtime. It was exactly the kind of game that we thought it would be, though. It was tough. It was rough. What we didn't think would happen, though, is inconsistency and for new problems to emerge with our Chicago Bears. So let's get into some of the details now. First off, though, we got to give credit where credit's due on the Seahawks side, and that's Russel Wilson. That kid's he's really mature for a first-year quarterback. He had a lot of poise, was running the plays very well, took advantage where he could, and obviously he's got a little speed. He's got some ability to move the ball with his legs, and gotta give him credit. What he did to the Bears in the last couple of drives of the game there really embarrassed that defense, a defense that was thought of as top ranked. So on that side of the ball, it was really, I think, twofold. We had poor play and a lot of tired defenders, and I think there was also some really poor, I've heard the term arrogant thrown out there, but I really think that the coaching defensively from Lovie Smith was not where it needed to be this week. It was, again, that sit back, soft cover two kind of feel that, unfortunately, against these young running quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, like Colin Kaepernick, even like Cam Newton, has not worked. And it's not necessarily that they've killed us with their legs on the ground all the time. This past week was the case. But these young quarterbacks have been able to beat us with their arm. And that shouldn't be happening. And the reason for that, I believe, is that we're just leaving it too easy a decision for them every time they drop back in the pocket. We're not getting pressure with men coming off the corners or from the safety position unexpectedly. And that's really what I think you want to do against a quarterback that's not accustomed to playing the NFL at this level. He's going to sit back, look at tape, look at a soft cover two, and when he sees those reads come up in the game, he feels very comfortable. And Lovie hasn't been doing a good enough job making those young quarterbacks feel uncomfortable. So I think, when you do that, you bring confusion, but you also bring, a tough situation, a tough call for a quarterback to make if he's not used to seeing those kind of blitzes. He probably won't be able to take advantage of gaps left by those blitzing linebackers, safeties, or corners. And also, I think what it would do is shut down the run more, and that's what we didn't do this past weekend. We were vulnerable. Our front four and our linebackers were left to try and run down either Russell Wilson or Marshawn Lynch if the ball was handed off, and it was a tough gig for them all game playing that system, and eventually they tired out. They really, you could see in those last few drives, were just too dead-legged to be able to make the plays and the tackles they needed to. And it was unfortunate. Now, after the game, I think I'm also concerned at players like Charles Tillman for what may be lingering injuries, because he didn't look like himself either this game. He looked like he was feeling the effects of the broken foot that he suffered last game. And now we've got new injuries that are going to affect this defense going forward. Out for 3 games each by the reports that we're seeing today, as of when I'm recording this. Urlacher for 3 games, which means Nick Roach is going to have to slide over and start at middle probably. And it looks like Jennings, Tim Jennings is going to be out too for probably 3 weeks with the shoulder injury he suffered late in the game. So that's going to cause Kelvin Hayden to step up into a starter's role. We're going to bring DJ Moore into the lineup and fill that nickel position defensively. So it's going to be a situation for the Bears that's going to get even more in flux now, coming off of a couple bad performances defensively for them, especially in tiring and not being able to make the tackles like they normally are able to. The week before, Adrian Peterson had a good game against them, even though the Bears were up and winning. And I'll talk in a future video about having to stop him again this coming week in the matchup against the Vikings in Minnesota. I want to turn now to our offensive game, what happened against Seattle. First off, Brandon Marshall, again, just a beast, just incredible what he's doing. 10 catches for 165 yards. When everybody knows the ball's going to him, that's remarkable. And in a way, it was nice to see him take advantage of a bit of arrogance on the Seahawks defensive side for not double teaming him. The fact that they let him run free against a rookie cornerback, remarkable. Cutler, great. Again, he's making some really good decisions with the ball right now. He's using his arm to his advantage, firing it in there, firing it into tight windows, and allowing mostly Marshall to make tough catches and when it's necessary. Unfortunately, the number 2 receiver spot, once again, this game was a big weakness for us and a big gap. And, we saw guys like Earl Bennett fail this game. Could have made a big catch down the field. I believe it was in the first half there, and didn't happen. Cost us some points for sure. And I think we need, once again, I think I'm saying what I said a few weeks ago, but we need Alshon Jeffery back, because he's the only guy right now that looks like he can step up and be that solid number 2 receiver that we need. Unfortunately, he keeps getting injured. And it looks like also we should get Devin Hester back this week against the Vikings. That'll be another positive. While he's not a number 2, I think he adds another dimension and a few plays, a few types of sets and bubble screens, getting the ball out of Cutler's hands quickly, an element that we need in the pass game. All right, so another big positive this game, the offensive line. The offensive line, surprisingly, in pass blocking was great this game. Even though it's gone through a lot of flux, even though they've had their problems stopping edge rushers this season, they did a great job against what was deemed to be a pretty tough Seattle pass rush. And you got to give those front 5 guys a lot of credit, especially the ones that are stepping up in positions not expected. Jonathan Scott, I think, is doing a great job at right tackle right now. He's getting a lot of praise and well-deserved. And even Jamarcus Webb is looking better. He's looking more solid right now, especially compared to earlier in the season. And this unit let up only 1 sack this week, so you got to give him a lot of credit there. And maybe there's some chemistry developing here that we didn't see was coming necessarily before. Maybe really, really good going forward for this offensive line. So there's a bright light there. Unfortunately, the run game was garbage. Just garbage. Utter crap. And Matt Forte looks timid. He was dancing a lot behind the line of scrimmage, not making decisive cuts upfield, averaged only 3.1 yards per carry. Michael Bush looked good. Straight ahead got 5.6 yards per carry on 7 carries, but you can't rely on him consistently, I don't think. The offensive line, as good as they were in the pass block this game, didn't seem to be opening up a lot of creases, especially for Forte when he got the ball in his hands. So I don't think they were doing a great job at run blocking this particular game, even though they're supposed to be built that way. And, fortunately, what we did have running was Cutler, able to pick up big chunks of yards when he flushed out of the pocket, making defenders miss, and getting first downs a lot of time when the Bears needed them. So it's good to see him healthy and able to run the ball. And of course, he's quite an athletic quarterback when he wants to be, or when he's flush from the pocket at least. Also, a guy who deserves props again this week. I dumped on him early in the season, but I gave him the props recently, and he deserves them again. It's Mike Tice. Mike Tice, our offensive coordinator, is calling the game quite well. I love how he's starting to infuse the play-action pass quite regularly into the Bears' pass game. I think it's making a world of difference, pausing the defensive linemen, keeping blitzes from coming at Cutler too quickly, and giving him time to get the ball downfield, especially to Marshall. And so the other part is that they're starting to initially, when the play begins, instead of just when it breaks down, they're calling for him to roll out of the pocket on more plays. That's working as well, changing the point of attack for defensive linemen, and that's working out nicely too. So got to give credit to Mike Tice, and another positive at least going forward. Finally, also deserving props, Robbie Gould. It's almost like we don't need to say it. He's so good. He's so consistent. And again, just with ice in his veins, down 3 points, came in to tie it up from 46 yards at Soldier Field as if it was nothing. So gotta give him some props. He just does it year in, year out. Makes big kicks for field goals when we need them. So props to him. Anyways, it's a tough loss this week, but there are some bright lights. Got some injuries that are going to cause problems, so we could have some guys coming back. Could get very interesting. As far as the Bears go, where do they sit right now? That's going to be my next video when I actually debate someone special about where the Bears currently stand and what their playoff chances are. Bear down.